Hey guys, my name is Summer McCoy and I will be going over the Social Judgment Theory, Chapter 15 of the Griffin textbook. What exactly is social judgment theory? Well, it is the perception and evolution of an idea by comparing it with current attitudes. Essentially, every new idea is weighed by comparing it to the present point of view, Griffin 2012. Reading through the textbook of Chapter 15, Griffin 2012, there are many concepts that are key. There are three latitudes, also called zones, that help portray valuation and perception of an idea by comparing it with a current attitude. According to Griffin 2012, acceptance, rejection, and non-commitment are the three latitudes. The first latitude is of acceptance. This is the range of ideas that a person sees as reasonable or worthy of consideration. Griffin 2012. In this concept, ideas are deemed as acceptable because the person agrees with said person. The second latitude is rejection, the range of ideas that a person sees as unreasonable or objectionable. Griffin 2012. An example of this zone is how someone sees religion as white or black. People who have a low ego involvement would distinguish this as a gray area. People in this zone have a larger latitude of rejection because they are highly committed. Lastly is the latitude of non-commitment. This zone is a range of ideas that a person sees as neither acceptable nor objectionable. Griffin 2012. Sharif said we need to know the location and width of each of these interrelated latitudes in order to describe a person's attitude structure. Griffin 2012. Several research studies have shown that awareness of the application of these three latitudes or zones strengthens the quality of the speaker's arguments in the development of social messages. Salazar 2017. Another key concept is persuasion. Persuasion per O'Keefe 1990 occurs at the end of the process where a person understands a message and compares the position it advocates to the person's position on that issue, page 32. In this example, a person's position on an issue is dependent on their most preferred position or their anchor point. Their judgment of the various alternatives spread across the three latitudes, and lastly, their level of ego involvement with the issue, O'Keefe 1990. Another key idea that impacts all three latitudes is ego involvement. Briefly talked about above, this is described as the importance or centrality of an issue to a person's life, often demonstrated by membership in a group with a known stand. Griffin 2012. The favorite position anchors all of our thoughts about the topic. Griffin 2012. A good example is that a person may also vary in terms of their ego involvement. If a person cares deeply enough about an issue because it affects his or her own well-being, then this person's ego involvement may be considered high. If the person feels indifferent towards an issue, then the ego involvement may be very low. After going into detail on the different ego involvements, you can kind of see a theme that goes along with Chapter 15. It's the use of the anchor and how it interacts with the social judgment theory itself. The perspective of this, per Salazar 2017, is to show how a controversial topic that needs to be swayed to the right of the latitudinal continuum using all three of the latitudes. That's on page 91. With this information, it provides how people can construct persuasive arguments while using an anchor. From reading the text, my understanding of an anchor is something that represents a person's stance or point of view. Griffin 2012. Mallard 2010 applied the theory to help persuade other people to see why their view on the subject is more acceptable. Ego involvement is used to see the levels or involvement through each person.